Kendra Murphy was raped at St Andrew's Residential College, Sydney University. The outrageous insistence by the college to conduct an internal investigation into the rape led nowhere, except weeks of painful interviews for Kendra and her witnesses. And then, the college's judgment.
I was sat down by the vice principal and she said that they're really sorry for what happened to me, but the investigation was inconclusive. There wasn't enough evidence to prove either way what happened.
The fact the college felt it could conduct its own criminal investigation, what does it tell you?
It tells me that these places are incredibly dangerous because their primary objective is protecting the institution that has lived for 150 years.
Had he not gone to St Paul's College that night, he'd be alive today.
While Kendra Murphy's case was horrific, Stuart Kelly's was tragic. The 18-year-old took his own life in July 2016. He was the younger brother of Thomas Kelly, who was infamously king hit and killed in King's Cross in 2012. And when the Kelly family petitioned for lockout laws, Stuart became the face of the campaign.
Australia is an alcoholic. We need to rethink the way we drink.
His parents, Ralph and Kathy, believe that made him a target in a hazing ritual on his first and only night at St Paul's College, Sydney University, which they say led to his suicide.
And when we arrived, he was sitting in the gutter with his head in his hands. Got in the car and began to sob uncontrollably. And we had not seen him cry since Thomas's life support was turned off in the hospital 4 years earlier.
Did he tell you why he was so upset?
It became really apparent very, very quickly that something was catastrophic. And I said to Kathy, we just need to not question him. We need to get him out of here and get him back home.
St Paul's made Stuart sign a disclaimer for O Week, absolving the college from responsibility. His parents have been told he was restrained by other students with alcohol forced down his throat. But they fear something far more sinister, perhaps even a sexual attack, happened to Stuart.
What did they do to him there that evening that changed him? If Stuart was possibly sexually assaulted that night, that is a crime. So he took his own life, and suicide is not a crime, but what precedes it might just be.
Just as in Kendra Murphy's case, the college conducted its own investigation.
Well, the serious investigation which they carried out was actually carried out by the college's solicitors, who are paid for by the college. So one has to ask, well, if there's a vested interest from a relationship between a solicitor and a client, so, there's a veil of secrecy.
With St Paul's saying the claims are unsubstantiated, the Kellys believe their only chance of getting answers is a coronial inquest. And they hope that will also shine a light on the darkest corners of college hazing culture.
Hazing is violent, it's about drunkenness, it's about bullying, it's about assault. What's good about any of those things? These rituals which are barbaric really should be outlawed because they are criminal.
The cases of Stuart Kelly and Kendra Murphy helped spark a major investigation into the toxic culture at university residential colleges. The result, the Broderick Report, took over a year to prepare and cost more than $1 million. It makes a call for cultural renewal at colleges. But for all that, according to critics, its main message is hazing is fun. It didn't even interview Kendra Murphy or take details of her case.
There was no mention of sexual assault and any case studies on that. The only quotes were incredibly positive and like hazing was fun and all that stuff. It was unbelievable, and I think it should be thrown out and stomped on and burnt.
Frankly, the report itself was terrible. It was a total whitewash. And overall, it was presented as a glossy brochure for the colleges. It was presented as an ad. Come to college, you'll have a great time. Hazing is fun.
Do you honestly think things are going to change within the colleges?
I do actually, yes, because I've seen that process lead to real results in other institutions.
Michael Spence is Vice-Chancellor of Sydney University. Despite the criticism, he believes the Broderick report, released last November, will spark change. Would you like to have more power over these colleges?
I'd like to make sure that the issue in the colleges is dealt with once and for all. That's why the university has been working with the colleges to bring change. If it doesn't bring change, then from the university's point of view, all options are on the table.
And what does that mean?
If there isn't an end to those practices, then I wouldn't want to see the students of the University of Sydney there.
There are many kids or students, young adults who have just started in these colleges this past week, and you wonder what's happening to them right now as we speak. Yet there is no duty of care. You know, the colleges are happy to turn a blind eye to rituals of hazing, and when something does happen, they all protect their backs and everything is covered up.
For now, as Kendra Murphy and Aria Kerwin experienced, colleges are a law unto themselves, a place where seemingly real-world rules don't apply or are overlooked. Aria got out of St Mark's in Adelaide. She's now attending university in Melbourne, while Kendra is finishing her degree at Sydney. Neither are at a residential college, and both wish they never had been.
It's this really bizarre, entrenched culture that the colleges will never get rid of. Like, there can be as much reform as you want, but that essence will still be there, and that's what the issue is. I think they should be disbanded.
How has this whole experience left you feeling?
I think angry now that I'm back home. I'm really angry, actually, and I want to see change, especially reading about some of the things that girls and boys as well have gone through at other colleges across the country. There's obviously a trend that's completely unacceptable in 2018, and it needs to stop.
If this story raises issues and you need to speak with someone, you can call Lifeline on 13 11 14.